Let us make two things clear today. The things that I think are eminently important and that perhaps could find consensus in this chamber, both sides of the aisle. In fact, I believe even most countries across the world would agree with those two things. Maybe even the United Nations and the Organization of American States could agree with that. And I'm confident even the Vatican could agree with that. And that is that Nicolas Maduro was not the legitimate president of Venezuela. And the Venezuelan people were not free nor prosperous during his corrupt regime. Here is another truth, Mr. Speaker, that in no way conflicts with this first one. The President of the United States must come to Congress before ordering a military engagement against any country. You cannot uphold the rule of law by breaking it. You cannot protect or abide by the Constitution by assaulting it. Again, there is no confusion between these two positions. Nicolas Maduro was not a legitimate president, and unauthorized military action is illegal without the consent of Congress. With Nicolas Maduro now in the rear-view mirror, we must look forward and craft policies that support a free and democratic future for Venezuela, and policies that return war powers to the United States Congress as enshrined in the United States Constitution. That is why I and the Executive Board of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus will propose the Congressional Hispanic Caucus membership a forward-looking framework for a democratic and stable Venezuela. As members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, we come from different nations in Latin America and the Caribbean. We are immigrants like myself, and many of the members also are ancestors that settled in places in these United States before the United States even existed, and everything in between. But we share, like most Americans with roots from all over the world, a special connection to Latin America and the Caribbean. Hence, we have crafted a series of recommendations, a roadmap, if you may, to democracy and prosperity for the people of Venezuela. Our first priority is to support a free and democratic Venezuela. That means rejecting authoritarian governance, whether the orders come from the Miraflores Palace or the White House. The Venezuelan people deserve institutions that are accountable, transparent, responsive to their will, and a restoration of democracy through timely and legitimate elections that reflect the voices of the Venezuelan people themselves. But this is not just about the Venezuelan people. This is ultimately also about the American people. And the American people deserve a government that preserves, protects, even respects our own rule of law, our own Constitution. That is why we reject any further U.S. military intervention without congressional authorization. If we are together as a nation to put our men and women in uniform at risk, our Constitution wisely demands that the decisions be made by the representative of those people. It may well be that Congress will have voted for or against an intervention, but ultimately it is Congress that should do it. Now that we are so deeply involved with Venezuela, we must act according to our principles. That means ensuring humanitarian protections at home and abroad for the Venezuelan people, victims of tyranny for so long. At home, that includes extending TPS. We cannot deport people to a nation where our actions have set off a new wave of repression. In Venezuela, that means pushing an end to that repression. It means the release of political prisoners, including journalists and civil society leaders. It means freedom of expression, freedom of the press. We must also ensure that Venezuela's future is decided by Venezuelans. Our future is also in balance. Mr. Speaker, we're not a nihilist nation. Mr. Speaker, we're a nation of values, principles, and laws. We must act as one. And I yield back.